Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webcast. My name is Claudia Tarico. I'm the editor of Demand Gen Report, and I will be your moderator for this presentation. We've got a really good one coming up for you today. It's all about improving marketing's impact, so let's get this going. I'm going to run through a few housekeeping slides before we get to today's presentation. So first of all, for those of you who are new to Demand Gen Report, welcome. We're thrilled to have you part of our community. A little bit of information about us. DGR is an online publication. We cover all the news and trends relevant to B2B marketing and sales professionals, along with producing breaking news articles, feature-length trend pieces. We also do a variety of other content, including benchmark research, more in-depth reports, and so much more. So if you haven't done so already, please join our community of 65,000 and growing B2B marketing pros by subscribing to Demand Gen Report today. DGR is also the very proud host of the annual B2B Marketing Exchange. It takes place every February, and it's coming up on February 24th through the 26th, 2020 in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're really excited about it. Please join us. It's such a fun time. Go to b2bmx.co to get more information about the event. Sign up for updates. We're going to be announcing more speakers and sessions, so please keep an eye out, and I really hope that I get to meet you all in Scottsdale next year. Okay, so we've got a really cool prize pack situation for our strategy and planning series this year. By attending today's session, you've automatically been entered into today's drawing. All of the really cool prizes that you could possibly win are on your screen right now, some Apple AirPods, and even free passes to B2BMX 2020. So yeah, registrants will automatically be entered for a chance to win for every session that they attend live. So hopefully you have your calendars blocked off for all of the sessions you registered for, so you have a better chance of winning. Today's presentation is hosted on the On24 platform, and during the entire session you can access all of the information you need from the platform toolbar. You can join the social discussion on both Twitter and LinkedIn using the hashtag SPS19. And you could also see here that you could tweet directly from within the On24 platform using the widget on the left-hand side of your screen. Also, please don't be afraid to ask our presenter questions. You can do so via the Q&A widget on the top right corner of your screen. Today's session is also, it's slated to run roughly 25 to 35 minutes with a few extra minutes for the following Q&A. You could submit questions via the Q&A widget at any time. We will probably have some time to go through a few questions, but no matter if you don't get your question answered, don't worry about it. We'll be emailing you answers directly. The presentation is also being recorded, so you could, go back, rewatch, share with your colleagues, share it with your peers at any time. So we'll be also sending those recordings over following the series. We're always we're needy in that sense where we want your feedback and suggestions for all of the digital events that we host. So please take a moment today to take our short survey that will pop up at the end of the session. You could even take the survey at any time by clicking on the little survey icon circled right here at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so with all of that said, I'm really excited to introduce today's speaker, Bianchini of LeanData. She is the Vice President of Growth Marketing at LeanData and responsible for the development of strategic initiatives to drive demand throughout the entire customer lifecycle. She has over 15 years of experience leading teams in strategic roles focused on revenue generation, marketing programs, customer marketing, marketing operations, and sales development. So we are all in great hands, and she's a pro. So, Charm, without further ado, I'm passing things over to you. Take it away.
Thanks, Claudia. Excited to be here today. As you guys heard, my name is Bianchini. I'm the VP of Growth Marketing at LeanData, and we're going to dive into 3 steps to improve marketing impact. So let's get started. So the agenda today will be pretty simple. We're going to be talking about a data strategy that you can implement at your company. We'll be talking about the right marketing metrics as well as how to communicate the value of marketing. So the questions we're going to answer are, is your data ready for attribution? Have you established the right KPIs for your business? And how are you going to present your data to an executive? All right, let's get into the meat of the presentation. We're going to talk about step 1, which is creating a solid data strategy. We all know that data is more important and more available than ever. All this data, though, we've got data coming from different systems, from different providers. A lot of times it causes a lot of database chaos. I don't think I've ever worked at a company where sales reps and marketing are saying, oh, the data is great, right? Usually everyone's complaining about the data. You can't make sense of the data. You can't find the data. And what happens in terms of marketing? Well, when you have this poor data, it really does affect your marketing programs. The first thing that occurs is marketing and sales are not aligned. How many times have you guys been in meetings where marketing is rattling off different stats and different data points than sales? So already, if you guys can't communicate that you've done X, Y, and Z together and those numbers are off, you guys are not aligned. Poor data also reflects in lack of visibility throughout the funnel. So if you don't have the right data and the right view of data, you're not going to be able to see how things are progressing through the funnel or how a certain industry or a certain segment or certain accounts are progressing through that funnel. And then that results in hard to meet pipeline goals. If there is a leaky funnel or if this data is incorrectly being measured or pulled in, you're not going to show strong pipeline and revenue goals. And then what happens to the customer? Well, a lot of times it's a bad customer experience. I can't tell you guys how many times I've worked at companies where a demo request will come in and it'll be sent over email and there'll be 5 sales reps that say, got it, got it, got it. That means all 5 of them think they own that account, and all 5 of them are responding and following up to this customer, which is going to be very aggressive in terms of response from a company standpoint to this one client. So it's going to result in a really bad experience. And then poor data, it affects marketing ROI. It's either going to take you guys a long time to show marketing ROI, and that's if you can at all, and we're going to get into this in a little bit. And then, of course, it is really hard to segment and do really targeted, effective, personalized campaigns if you have poor data. So if you're trying to pull in GE and you can't see all the leads and all the contacts within GE for that account, you're not going to be able to pull them into your marketing campaign. So maybe you're going to miss half of them. And then what's going to happen if you miss half? Well, it usually results in bad engagement and bad ROI. So data quality is a huge issue, not only for the company, but for the marketer in showing program impact. And know this, right? Why haven't people figured this out? Well, it's because creating a solid data strategy can be really, really hard. And let's talk about what a marketer can do to unify data. So the first thing that a marketer can do is kind of push the operations team or even spearhead a group to unify data. And we all know that there's numerous tools and numerous data living in different systems, right? So the first thing you need to do is start bringing all this data together. And once you're able to integrate these multiple data sources, then the best thing that you can do is match all of this data together. It's called lead to account matching. So it's really taking leads and companies and contacts and accounts within your CRM system and matching them all at the account level. And you're not only doing this for visibility and for engagement within an account, but it's really, really important for attribution. So if you're not able to show that all of this unified data is doing one thing or responding to certain campaigns, you're not going to be able to report on it. And the other thing that you need to do is cleanse your data. And so really understand the cause of dirty data, not only across the company, but within marketing itself. And so the first thing you need to understand is there data that's being dirty because of missing information? Are you taking leads or lists from trade shows and uploading them, but is it possibly missing country information? Is it possibly missing title? Is it missing state, right? Maybe you route leads according to state. So don't upload data if it's missing information and causing dirty data. Another source of dirty data could be duplicates. Are you creating a lot of duplicates, or do you have a good duplicate removal strategy? I know there's tools out there that can do this. There's also people, right? You can use a third-party contractor to do this, or even interns. And so once duplicates get over a certain amount, send them out to be cleaned and to be merged. Another source of dirty data might be privacy. We've got so many different privacy laws in place now with GDPR and CASL and California coming soon in a few months. So if you're missing country information or you're missing information as to how this person got in your database and actually responded or the date that they opted in, that is something that you need to clean up and that you need to work on getting going forward. The other thing that is very important is coming up with how do you cleanse this data and how do you do it on a regular basis. Doing it one time isn't going to be efficient. You need to do it multiple times. So for example, maybe you start with email addresses. Maybe you start with mailing addresses. Maybe you start with titles. And what I mean by this is, if you have bad email addresses in your system, clear them out. It's just going to help improve the deliverability and make sure things aren't bouncing. It also gives you an opportunity to try to find the right ones. Mailing addresses, these are so important when you're trying to do a field event, you're trying to invite people in a certain region, or you're doing direct mail and you want to make sure that this $200 direct mail piece is actually going to go to the right location and be delivered to the right title. And then titles are important. If you don't have the right title for someone, or it's very old and it's 10 years from now and they're no longer a manager, they're actually a CMO, that's going to hurt your programs because you're going to be pulling in the wrong person to a potentially high-level program. The other thing that I love to do is if you're missing titles, use a data source, use a internal team to fill in those missing titles. Or if there's vague titles like a manager, clear those out. Look in LinkedIn and see if the person is really an IT manager versus just a manager. All of that little bit of data work for your marketing programs is going to help improve the impact. It's going to give you better segmentation, but it's also going to help the overall data strategy and the data cleanliness in your company. A good place to start is target accounts. So I encourage you guys to look at your target accounts, and if you have tons of target accounts, start with maybe 10. Start with the top 10 and make sure that the titles that you have for your target accounts are your right buyers, right? You have your right buyer personas identified. They're still with the company. And then also look at parent and child relationships. I've done this manually in the past. I've taken my 10 lighthouse target accounts that I cared about, and we've manually mapped, because we didn't have budget or we didn't have a data source that could easily do this, we've manually mapped the parent and child relationships in our CRM for those target accounts. So I encourage you to think about, what can you do as a marketer? Either use technology, use yourself, use your AEs, use your SDRs. I love using SDRs. They're going into Salesforce or your CRM on a regular basis, right? Maybe have cleanup Fridays where if they clean up 25 titles or account within target accounts, they are given a $5 Amazon, or Starbucks gift card. And then create that plan. Create a plan for regular cleansing, whether it's, hey, every Friday we're going to do this, or it's the first Friday every month, or we're going to use a database technology vendor to actually enrich everything on an ongoing basis. Whatever works, it's just starting it and continuing it over time. And tip number 3 is really to ensure data is sent to the right people. So when I came to LeanData just a few months ago, I didn't want to step on the gas and spend a lot of money up front if I didn't know how those leads are going to go to the sales reps, right? And so what I did was I sat down and I really understood with our operations team, if I am to generate 2,000 leads next month, what's going to happen to them? Right? Am I going to get them to all of the people that need to get it? First, I didn't even know who they go to. Do they go to the SDRs? Do they go to the AEs? Or maybe some are going to go to the company because certain accounts are owned by LeanData. Or is it going to go to an operations person? So to really improve marketing impact and make sure that all your leads are followed up on, you need to know what is that routing process. And make sure that you have some sophisticated routing rules in place. For example, should certain leads be round robin, right? Should it go to all one rep or should it be distributed evenly? What happens if a rep is on vacation and they're out for 2 weeks? Does that rep, does someone cover that rep, or are they all just going to sit there? That's a big problem, especially when things get cold after even a day. What about time-based routing? So if you're doing a target account strategy and some international folks are responding to your campaigns, but your whole sales team goes home at 6 p.m., who takes over? Do you just wait until the sales team comes in at 8 a.m. to follow up? Or is there an international team that could follow up? And what about opportunity routing, right? Is this handled by your sales team, your AEs, or is it handled by SDRs? So really dig in and understand and ensure that the data is going to be sent to the right people, and so you're going to get your biggest bang for all of your bucks, right? The one I really love is rerouting if SLA failure. And what that means is, I've established SLAs with our sales team. So I say, hey, for a demo request, I expect that this is followed up within 8 hours, and actually, more like 4 hours that they follow up on. So if for some reason a bunch of demo requests come in and they actually don't do anything with them and it's 10 hours, well then maybe we need to pull it from that queue of that person and reroute it to someone else. And so it is, I can't stress how important this is to make sure that data is actually sent to the right people at the right time. And how do you do this effectively? Well, it can't be done on a one-on-one basis, of course, right? You need to be able to have some technology to monitor this. You get reports that are sent, and then, of course, continuously optimize. In fact, we found out that there were some rules that were in place from a long time ago, a couple years ago, that no one documented or wrote down, and so these leads that were very hot and important to us were actually being sent to someone who is no longer here, right, and into an email alias that doesn't get looked at. So the continuous optimization and these reports allows you to find some nuggets that actually are really good leads that I'm going to jump on now, but it's a bummer that we didn't find them earlier. All right, so the next tip is tip 4, which is act on insights from data. So it's great to have a good, solid data strategy. It's great to cleanse your data. It's great to be able to make sure that your data is getting routed to the right person on time. But to really improve marketing impact, you need to be able to act on the data, right? And so what you need to do is be able to show in real time a 360-degree view of what's going on within a territory or within a rep's account or within a specific account that might be a target account. And being able to do this allows you to align sales and marketing, allows you guys as different groups to come together, work together, and execute together. And so by doing something with insights and making them visible and in real time, you're going to see more impact on your marketing program. So what I love to do is send notifications, right? Maybe there's notifications within your marketing automation program that notifies your sales and marketing team when target accounts are engaging. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but just make sure that they're visible insights that people can act on in a timely manner. All right, so now this brings us to step 2, which is marketing metrics. And let's dive into what this is all about. The thing that I recommend is that you analyze your funnel. This is what you should do for any new company you join, but also if you don't know what your funnel is now at the company that you're working at, do this, right? So when I, again, came a couple months ago to LeanData, I wanted to understand what kind of funnels do we have? How is the funnel performing? Is it a leaky funnel? Do we have a funnel that is for everything in new business? Do we have a funnel for upsell and cross-sell? Do we have a funnel for enterprise versus mid-market? It doesn't matter if you don't have sophisticated funnels and it's one funnel right now, but as you grow and you get more specialized for certain industries or certain segments or cross-sell and upsell versus acquisition, you probably are going to have to build out multiple funnels. But first, understand those funnels and if those funnels have the right stages. The next thing that I love to do is define the opportunity stages and the requirements to move to various stages. So I've been at companies where they actually need help from marketing and actually defining what those stages should be. If you have opportunity stages that are working and already defined, great. Just make sure that you know what those definitions are. I've worked at companies where there's tension between SDRs and AEs, and the SDRs are complaining that a lot of the opportunities they think should move to the next stage aren't moving, and that AEs don't want to move the opportunities, right? To understand if that's really the case, it's usually because people don't understand what the opportunity stage definition is. So a great way to prevent this from happening is to document and create a poster. Create a poster and put the opportunity stages, the definitions, the criteria to move to that different stage. Put one of these posters in marketing. Put one of these posters in the sales development organization. Put one of these posters in sales. And then you can see to move from stage 1 to stage 2 takes a demo, right? Or stage 2 to stage 3 takes an executive plus 4 other things. And so if a sales rep is working on a demo with a client, it absolutely needs to be in stage 2. Then there's no question about it. There's no more tension. Another great thing to do is benchmark your data. This is very, very helpful in showing if you're making an impact. And so what you'll want to do is look at, what Serious Decisions has in terms of overall B2B conversion rates, but also look at for your industry or your size of company. Benchmark your own data. So show in 2018 we had these conversion rates. In 2019 we did this. With some tweaks in 2020, we're expecting to do this, and track and measure against these goals. These conversion rates really allow you to see if there's any issues, throughout the entire funnel. So if you have really poor MQL rates, or maybe you have, MQL or MQA rates that are super high, but those are converting very tiny amounts to meetings, maybe there's a qualification or a problem with the scoring. If meetings are not turning into ops at a high rate, like 50 or 60%, that's probably a problem too, and you probably want to dive into, is there a sales development messaging issue, or are they having problems with qualification, or is there misalignment in the opportunity stages and the AEs think one thing in terms of converting and accepting that meeting versus the SDRs? So I encourage you to look at all of these, benchmark them, track them, and then constantly test and tweak. Maybe pick that you want to improve the MQA to meeting stage in 2020 or for this quarter or for this second half. And then, run some simple tests and adjust to see if it makes a difference. And the next thing you need to do, once you understand the funnel, is start tracking the right metrics. And so I want to spend some time today talking about this. And so why do you need to track the right metrics? Well, it's all about impact, right? Again, it goes back to improving the performance of your campaigns, making sure that people realize that you are providing value to the company. And so analyzing and understanding the impact on your marketing campaign spend and how it's relating to pipeline and revenue is so important. It allows you, once you have this data, to really optimize investments. And then some of the good metrics to track, and we'll talk about some of these in detail, is top-of-funnel metrics, right? What does it look like at the top of the funnel? How much coverage? And by coverage, do you have enough contacts and leads and the right buyer personas within a rep's account or within a target account or within a territory? Are those people engaging over time? That's all top of funnel, early indicators of success. And middle funnel, it's all about taking the people that have engaged and getting them to the right point in order for you to hand them off to sales. So are you generating from that engagement, are they turning into marketing qualified leads if that's what you tracked? Or marketing qualified accounts if that's what you track. And then are those turning into meetings? And are those meetings with, the right people? Are they low-level people, which may not be good at manager level, or are they really decision makers and buyers, directors and above? And then at the bottom of the funnel, it's all about acceleration. So taking those deals that you have and making sure that those are turning into the various, pipeline and revenue that you thought you would get, and also accelerating them throughout the funnel. Here's a slide on some KPIs that matter. And not all KPIs that we care about are ones that you care about, right? But here's some metrics that we look at. Of course, today we're talking about marketing ROI and improving your spend. And here's, marketing ROI, why it matters for us is it's really understanding the bottom line of your marketing efforts so you can spend smarter, right? Pretty simple. What about sales cycle length by campaign type? So really setting the right expectations. If you go to a trade show, maybe those are very top of funnel. Maybe those are going to take a year to flip into an opportunity. But if you look at sales cycle length by a different kind of campaign, maybe it's a workshop, right? And it's very late stage and product-driven workshop. Perhaps those are going to find people who are almost at the opportunity stage, and those will convert in 30 days. Win rate by campaign type. So when closed revenue is so important and you need to increase the closed revenue number more to make your goals in 2020, look at the win rate by campaign type. Pick the campaigns that are actually going to give you the highest win rate. So these are, important metrics that I encourage you guys to ask the right questions for your own organization and start tracking them. What's also really important is to understand the impact of marketing touches, but not only marketing touches, sales touches as well. This is an example that shows 300 plus days, 322 days for an opportunity from start to close. It shows you the marketing touches. There's been 10. It shows you the sales touches. There's been over 600, right? You need to understand, is this good or this bad? Is sales taking way too long to advance these deals? Are they not asking the right questions? Possibly you're in a new category. Are they taking too much time evangelizing this category and not getting to actually your product fast enough? So understanding how your marketing touches and sales touches impact a deal is very critical in order to show good marketing impact. And now let's talk about attribution. Attribution, hopefully everyone knows this definition. It's a science of assigning credit or allocating dollars from a sale to the marketing touch points that a customer was exposed to during their journey. And I pulled a recent survey on attribution from Ascend too, and one of the questions I talked about, what are some of the most challenging barriers that B2B marketing people face when it comes to marketing attribution success? And so you can see here some of the top ones are applying attribution technology. You might think this is easy, but actually all these tools today come with their own way to measure success. And so you need to figure out, are you going to use a tool within one technology platform that you have, or are you going to use an attribution technology across the board to pull in all this data and look at it at a high level? I think what's best is to pull it into some sort of attribution technology at a high level so you can see all the different channels, all the different ways you're making an impact. Another one is consolidating data sources. We talked about this already. We talked about how missing information or not having things unified at the data level can cause a lot of problems with attribution. And then sometimes analyzing campaigns by channel. So perhaps you're not even able to see certain channels and how they're performing. A lot of times when you see this, it's because people aren't using the same kind of standard naming conventions, or they changed some along the way, and now they have previous campaigns that were reporting into a certain channel and they haven't moved them over. So keep your data clean, whether it's within your database or your campaigns within your marketing automation. It's so important in order to come up with certain impactful insights. Here's some various attribution models, and there's so many more, but here's some that we look at, right? First touch. This is assigning 100% attribution value to the first relevant marketing touch prior to opportunity creation. So a lot of times acquisition programs, you want to know, what should I spend money on? Is it content syndication? Is it a digital ad? Is it an event, right? Give 100% credit to that campaign that created that op. Multi-touch. This is really popular these days with account-based marketing. You want to be able to look at all of the campaigns that touched an opportunity. And so you give equal distribution of attribution across all of these campaigns. Here at LeanData, we like to look at multi-touch generated. So this is looking at, it's kind of like multi-touch and first touch combined, right? It's giving even distribution across campaign member touches, but it's prior to an opportunity being created. So it is looking at what is impacting that opportunity creation. Then, of course, there's last touch. There's even last touch generated. So I encourage you guys to pick, a model that works for you, really understand the various models, and then possibly use a couple if it makes sense. Here at LeanData, we've picked a couple different models. And so, like I said on that previous slide, we look at multi-touch generated. I like to look at last touch. I like to see what was the last campaign or last channel that influenced an opportunity being created. I also like to look at multi-touch. So, make sure that you're picking a model that works for your business. And here's an example of measuring multi-touch program attribution. And so these are certain charts. These are examples, again, right, showing different channels. As a marketer for myself, I don't like pulling in content as a channel. I don't actually think content is a channel. I like to think of content as assets that you use in other channels. So I usually suppress content, or I suppress the website, and I see what are the other paid channels that I'm using that are driving the real pipeline generation. But again, it's up to you. Another way to look at things is attribution by touch stage. So look again at your opportunities. Understand your opportunity stages, and then analyze by touch stage. Is everything being created at the first call, or are things actually progressing throughout the funnel that you can say you had a hand in helping? Here's another important one, is campaign influence. And I'm not saying do this for all campaigns, but this is analyzing one specific campaign. And so, for example, this is looking at a webinar, but you can also do it for a big program, like if you go to a big trade show like RSA or Dreamforce and you're spending $1 million, right? You want to know, is this campaign working? Am I creating opportunities? Are all these opportunities maybe going into a pre-opportunity stage, like meeting and never progressing? That's not good, right? You want to be able to show that opportunities are in a pre-opportunity stage, then they're progressing to demo, then to discovery, then to proposal, and so on. Another thing I like here is being able to see a rank. So is this webinar good or bad when I rank it compared to other webinars of all time, or webinars in the last 6 months, or other webinars that I have run for enterprise? So it can show you, is it this a number 1 or a number 2 or a number 20? And what do you do with all of this data and these insights from attribution? Well, you need to, again, act on this data, so optimize your marketing programs with it, right? Test on a regular basis. I can't stress how important this is, whether it's subject lines, whether it's trying new campaigns, whether it's moving a button on your home page of your website. Just start testing so you can really improve and know what works and doesn't work. And then from all of this data, use it to make data-driven decisions. You want to be able to use it to uncover new trends. Maybe you're seeing that for all enterprise deals, they always do one of these 2 campaign touches before it becomes an opportunity. That's super insightful. That's super helpful. You can take those 1 or 2 campaigns and try to optimize those campaigns if that's what they're always responding to. You can also form predictions for the future. So if you see that, with a couple campaigns, your small business is now decreasing the sales cycle by half, let's try to create more campaigns to decrease the sales cycle even faster. And then spend your marketing budget in the best way possible. By this, we mean, signing up for those same kind of campaigns that are going to do better. Maybe you can still tweak them or test them to actually get more ROI. What I also encourage people to do is, not always 100% of your marketing dollars need to go on things that are working, right? Carve out a tiny bit of budget for trying new things. It'll keep your team engaged. They'll be excited to test new technology or test a new vendor or test a new channel. But it will also allow you to see if something's going to help you beat the competition, and maybe something that you've never tried before actually turns out to be your leading channel in terms of creating a new type of pipeline. So always have a little bit of budget for testing new things. All right, so now let's finish up with communication and reporting. And knowing your audience is always so important. I've said this to so many people I've managed over time, and it's something for us to always remember. And so knowing your audience is all about understanding the content and the messaging that your audience cares about. If you're talking to executives versus managers or IT people versus HR, this is where this kind of information really plays out. And so what you need to know is, what is the right format? Should I be talking to them in a half-hour presentation? Should I present 5 slides? Should I present 1 slide? Should I send a lengthy email? Should I just send a 1-sentence email with a couple bullet points? So determine the right format. Create consumable information. If things are too long, people don't read it. They just gloss over it. They don't find it helpful. Put in actionable to-dos, right? Highlight things, bold things, and say, sales, this is where I need you to take action on. You must do 1, 2, and 3. Be very prescriptive. And speaking the same language is so important. I know I've been in meetings where sales says, oh, we don't have enough leads. And if I didn't realize that they're not talking about leads but really opportunities, we'd have a huge disconnect. So correct people if they're saying the wrong thing, but also try to speak their language. If they only care about opportunities, that's all you need to talk to them about. If you talk to executives about people downloading a white paper, they don't care, right? But maybe downloads of a white paper are really important to marketing because it's a leading indicator of how the rest of the month or the quarter is going to go in terms of taking those leads and converting them throughout the funnel. And then rest of company, do they need to even know all this information? Or maybe you just a couple charts or a couple graphs that you can get across your value to. Here's an example of a weekly email that we send to sales. I haven't listed out everything's in here, but it lists important updates, right? So what do they need to know, and what are some programs this week they need to be aware of? What's going on the following week, right? So make sure that there's some sort of communication. Possibly present this during a meeting or post it on a sales portal, but somehow on a weekly basis, properly communicate out what's going on with marketing. And on a monthly basis, trend out how some things in marketing are doing so people know about them and also know if you're doing good or bad work. So on the left, you can see these could be, app exchange demo requests. Are things going up or down? Did we change our listing, et cetera? On the right, this is, target account engagement. Are things going up or down, good or bad? Did we pick new target accounts in August? Maybe we picked them and now they're better accounts, and so you can see things are trending in the right direction. Perhaps we got more money in August. So don't just show trending reports, which I think is helpful, but also give color, right? Give them some explanations for why there might be increases or decreases in number. And what I like to do is just keep a Google spreadsheet and say, hey, on September 1st, we changed the home page to new messaging. So if you see that your website numbers are going up or down, you'll be able to know, oh, maybe it was that website rebrand that we did. Or on August 1st, we changed our target accounts and picked new ones. And so it'll take us a little while to start marketing to them, and then we should see some increases in engagement. And what do you do for the board? Well, for board reporting, they care about marketing efficiency. And what I like to present are two different charts, a fully loaded chart versus a programs only. And when I say fully loaded, that means programs as well as people. And so I just like to trend over time. In 2017, what was the total programs and people investment? What was the pipeline created? What was the ROI on op dollars? So you can see if it's going up over time. For programs only, it's, how much program dollars are you giving me? What kind of investment am I making? And what is the pipeline that I can generate? So, for example, in 2020, if someone says, Charm, I'm going to give you $2 million, and I expect you to get $20 million in pipeline, and last year we only did 5X, and now you're asking for 10X, I may not feel good about that. It might be unrealistic numbers, or maybe you need to really do some optimizations to be able to get to that number. But showing the board marketing efficiency or something like this could be really, really impactful, improving success, and also helping you secure the budget that you had last year, hopefully even additional budget, and hopefully even additional people for the following year. Here's an example of not waiting for a weekly email to go out, a monthly trending report, or a board report. So if there's something that you need to communicate out to sales or the rest of the company, put it in an email, right? Show and highlight your marketing successes. This also helps improve the value of marketing, but also gets assets or whatever information that you need to get communicated out in a timely manner. So, for example, this is Ashley, our customer marketing manager, and she has a new video that's live, and so she's posting this in Slack, and she's telling people there's a new video, check it out, start using it today, which is great. So on that note, I hope you guys found this educational. I want to leave you with some key takeaways. The first one is, improving your marketing programs can definitely lead to more pipeline and revenue. Proving that you have the right strategy and the right programs in place can help you secure additional budget and even resources. And we talked about 3 steps to really do this. We talked about implementing that solid data strategy, right? If you can't get your entire company to rally around a consolidated data strategy, then start small. Start with marketing. I know you guys can influence sales. Start with your SDRs. Start with your AEs. Work together to get something started so you can start making an impact. And then it's all about tracking the right metrics. Understand your data, right? Be a data-driven marketer and start reporting and tracking and implementing ideas and testing ways to improve those conversion rates. And, of course, at the end of the day, show if you're giving $10, to a marketing program, be able to say, hey, I'm putting $10 here, and I think that I'm going to be able to get $100 in pipeline or $5 in pipeline. And then communicate regularly and effectively. And so a lot about marketing is marketing yourself, marketing your team, marketing your value, right? And so make sure people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. People are so busy these days, so if you don't do anything, people might think that you're not being valuable or that you're actually not helping at all, right? So take time out to promote on a weekly basis what you're doing, roll up metrics monthly, present or create slides for your CMO to present at the board, and then highlight successes on a daily basis in a Slack channel or through email. And one last slide about LeanData. LeanData, we are a leader in revenue operations. We have a platform with many products, and what that means is we are the data. We streamline all of the data through your revenue engine. And so we talked about this a little bit. It's all about planning, right, and making sure that you have the right goals in place. The data is so important in making sure that it's able to be moved and routed to the right people at the right time. We've talked about measurement and analytics and attribution. We have a product that does all that as well. So if you have any questions on how LeanData can help you or questions on how I'm using LeanData to prove and improve my marketing impact, let me know. Feel free to reach out to me. And with that, I want to say thank you, and if you have any questions, we will turn it over to Claudia right now for some live Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charm. That was a great presentation. Crazy amount of insights packed into such a short amount of time, so really great stuff there. We did get some awesome questions, but before I get to them, just a quick friendly reminder to everyone, please take our short survey, share your thoughts and feedback. Doing so will just really help us create a better content for you in the future. Okay, so now that I said that, let's get to those questions. All right, Charm, first question for you. Should you only use one attribution model?
Good question. I don't think so. So if you only use one attribution model, you'll never be able to ask questions like, what is the first touch that people, what kind of campaign or what kind of channel are people responding to that creates an opportunity. So what we do at LeanData is we look at first touch. We look at multi-touch. I explained what multi-touch generated is. We look at that here. We look at last touch, and so we even look at sales and marketing touches combined. So I encourage you guys, don't go crazy with too many, but once you have the questions and once you want to optimize based on those questions, configure your model in different ways so you're able to see the data to answer those questions. Good
stuff. There's actually a follow-up to that one, how do you know which attribution model to pick?
Yeah, that's something that I kind of just mentioned. You don't have to only pick one. You can pick many. But I think what you should really do before you just kind of dive in and purchase an attribution tool is, talk to your marketing team, talk to sales, talk to your executives. My CEO, he asks a lot of questions about attribution. Find out, what does he care about? What kind of data does he believe in? How does he want to see data presented? Does he care about a big pipeline number or a revenue number? Or does he care more about a conversion rate or a ratio like pipeline to cost? And so once you find out what executives or the board or even your marketing team cares about, then you can pick the attribution model or models that work best for you.
Awesome. I think we have time for one more, so let's get to this one. How can marketing play a role in data if there's a different department that owns the data?
Yeah, so good question again. I think most times I've worked for companies where data is such a big problem that they would love to have a marketing team member on a committee, right, or on a horizontal kind of data strategy team. And so I would try to insert yourself if you are concerned and interested in helping out. See if there's a committee. If there isn't, try to form one. If for some reason that is not an option, then start on your own, right? Making sure that, when you're uploading leads that you've got all the fields that you care about. You don't know how many times we go back to vendors because we route on state or we route on country, and sometimes vendors, partners that we're working with on webinars will send us missing information, and we basically push back and say, if you don't give us the state, we can't do anything with it. So please collect it, or please go back and get it for us. So little things like, missing information or making sure that you have the right people who still work at those accounts within some of your top target accounts, those are all different ways that marketers can get involved and improve data.
Good stuff. Well, that's unfortunately all the time we have for questions, but if your question was unanswered, don't worry, don't freak out. We'll be sure to follow up with you via email, so keep an eye on your inbox. Your answers are coming. Now, just to end it, I want to thank LeanData's Charm Bianchini again for such a great presentation. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We have another one coming in very, very shortly, so join us at 3 p.m. Eastern today to learn how to reach more audiences with data-driven videos. I hope to see you there. Thank you all again for taking the time out of your busy schedules. We hope to see you again soon.